don't judge a book by its cover. She stood up and she said, because in the lecture I spoke about the statistic fact that Muslims will become a majority in the world within the next decade, maybe sooner, inshallah. But we would become a world majority. And so that people should, learn about this religion, now. You should get to know us now, rather than judging us by, media bias. Learn what we're really about, because realistically, we are going to become a majority of the world's population. Statistically, and just because of the fact that Muslims have the propensity to reproduce on a massive scale. You're not going to stop that. She stood up afterwards and she asked, if the Muslims of America were to gain dominance and achieve political power, they were to achieve political power, the right to make decisions politically in America, would you seek to implement the Sharia? And then she even made it more specific, because Sharia can mean many things to many different people. A lot of misrepresentation about the Sharia. She even emphasized, she said the Sharia or the Medinite law. She knew what she was talking about when she said Medinite law. Medinite law, this is a coin term by Imam Malik, rahimahullah, propagated by Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah when he wrote a book called the Medinite Way. But she said, would you seek to implement the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as established by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina 1400 years ago? So she asked me a very, very good question. And that question had great ramifications of how I answered it. And this was a test for me as well, because that put me on the spot. I'm at Columbia University. There is news, there is cameras, we're all over the place. And this is also a place where I've seen a lot of du'at fail. I've seen a lot of the callers of Islam fail on this type of questions. They have faltered, and it's very unfortunate. How do you think I should have answered this question? There's only two options I have, yes or no. Which one do you think I should have given? What do you think? Those of you who think I should have said yes, raise your hand. Those of you who think I should have said no, raise your hand. I guess everybody else just doesn't know. I said, without hesitation, yes. And I said, first, let me tell you that in my religion, it is forbidden for me to lie. I have to tell you this first and foremost. In Islam, it is forbidden for me to tell a lie. Telling a lie is a great sin, especially about questions like this and in front of an audience like this. It is a grave sin for me to lie against my religion. If I were to say that Muslims would not want to establish the law of the Creator of the heavens and the earth on the earth, so that the creation can live by the laws of their Creator who knows them better than they know themselves, if I were to say that I would not want to establish a law that is the most just law that exists, the most equitable law, that the utmost goal of this law is to establish justice on the earth and make everyone have their inalienable rights as human beings under the law in the eyes of their Creator, then I would be a sinner. And I would have said a statement that would lead me out of my religion. Because according to all of the ulama, for those who deny the law of Allah Azza wa Jal, this is a statement that leads to kufr. This is a statement that leads to disbelief. So I said, yes, we would seek to establish this law. I said, but this should not bring you any type of apprehension, fear, or aggression. Because this law is, if you really understand the Sharia, it is a law that will bring the world much needed peace and justice. It would bring the law social equity. It would bring gender equality. It would bring racial equality. And these things are not things that we would have to figure out on our own. They're already pre-built into the system. They are pre-built into the system and cannot be amended out of the system. When you want to speak about racial equality, which has been a problem in America ever since its inception, if you want to speak about racial equality, it is an inalienable right built into the system that cannot be amended out. It is part and parcel to the system. If you want to talk about right of or equity of the sexes in the eyes of their Creator, how He deals with them in their own capacity, which is what I was watching this morning on one of these BBC channels, a talk show about gender equality, and they were wrangling and debating all about it. There were Jews and Christians and Muslims and everybody We don't need to do this in Islam. It's an inalienable right that's already been constructed within the confines of the law. And it cannot be amended out. It just needs to be implemented. I said, so this is beautiful. A beautiful religion. You want to talk about the problem of homelessness, the problem of world poverty. You want to talk about any social deal that may face society. It is already a solution. It is built into this system that cannot be amended out, and is part and parcel of the system, and it only needs to be implemented. I said, so why would you not want a law in the system? I said, anybody, if I just described the law to you like this, and asked you if you wanted it, if you wanted a social just law, if you wanted a racially just law, if you wanted a sexually just law, if you wanted a law that would eradicate homelessness, eradicate poverty, eradicate the problems of alcoholism and drug abuse, and all of the ills of society, if I told you that there was a law that you could just put into practice that is already defined and that would bring about all of these, would you want that system? Of course they would say yes. I said, this is the Sharia. This is the law of Islam. Very clearly, without question. So of course, this is what we're talking about here. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. We seek to establish the law of Allah on earth. And this is the reason why Allah sent His religion. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَهُ رَسُولُهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى دِينِ كُلِّهِ. That I have sent my messenger with the guidance and the religion of truth to do what? To make it become prevailed over every other way of life. No matter how much the disbelievers may detest or hate that. So this is the reason Allah sent His law. Not for us to sit on the sidelines and say, no, we're okay and you're okay and they're okay and everybody's okay. We just do our own little things and nobody's wrong and nobody's right. Let's just leave that gray area there. Like an interfaith type of ideology that everybody's okay. No, everybody's not okay. Everybody's not okay. If you're a Muslim, you're okay. If you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're okay. If you believe in His messenger, you're okay. If you deny that, you are not okay. You are not okay. And that's the izzah that we need to have in our hearts. That we're okay if we stay on this path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you go off this path, you're not okay. And that's an unfortunate problem that a lot of societies within the Muslim community have fallen into. That kind of ideology that everybody's okay to leave us be. No, everybody's not okay. We need to get involved. And we're going to talk about getting involved later, inshallah, and what parameters we can use to get involved in. Because this is also a point of divergence of how to implement these things. Some people just leave it alone and go to the extreme of abandoning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His deen and His law. And some people go to the extreme of the way that they go about trying to implement this law or initiate this law or establish this law. There is guidelines for that too, which we will go to later on, inshallah. We'll come up to Minhaj Da'wah. But then what does Allah say in the final phrase of this verse? The most beautiful part of the verse, actually. What does He say? It is those who will be successful. Allah is giving us a promise in His book. In His book, these are the people who will have success. Those who call to what is good, who seek to command to good and forbid evil, establish my law on this earth, I will make them successful. Don't worry about, your organization being successful or maybe this thing, because this is another problem that the Ummah has, is this inferiority complex. We have this huge inferiority complex that if we seek to establish Islam on the earth and establish the law of Allah, that we're so weak and we're so oppressed and we're so abused and misused that there's no way we can have this success. There's no way we can ever achieve and attain this goal. This person is going to get in your way, this thing is going to get in your way, that thing, they're not going to let you, they're not going to let you, these people are not going to let you. This is what we were told when we were trying to establish a TV station. They're not going to let you. They're going to stop you. They're going to shut you down. They're going to raid you. You might go to jail. This and that, the other. We said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised those who seek to establish His law on the earth and tell the truth about His religion. They are going to be successful. And it is dependent upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's success. So this is what we said when we started the station. Allah, we are calling upon you now according to your promise, that if we seek to do these things which you have commanded us, you will make us successful. So the success is with you. If we fail, then we've done something wrong. and it has nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We made a mistake. But if we are successful and we seek to do it by sincerity to you, then we know the success is going to come. This is what we should have in our hearts. That if we seek to do this justly, within the parameters that we're going to talk about today, with sincerity to Allah, the success is going to come. It will come. No doubt. Even if it's not given to you, Allah has already promised us that there are going to be a group of this ummah that I will always give success to. They will always be successful. And no one harm will ever come to them from any of their enemies. And our Rasul told us this about the Atafi and Najiyah wal Mansura. That there will always be a group of my ummah that Allah will give success. They are the ones who are doing these things. Also, the brother mentioned earlier, when it comes to obligations in Islam, we have two types of obligations, right? What are the two types? What is the first obligation? Fard Ayn, right? Fard Ayn. That means it's an obligation upon each and every single individual to do this command. What is an example of a Fard Ayn obligation? Salah is Fard Ayn, right? I can't call Brother Hamad on the phone and say, I'm not going to be able to make Salah right now, I'm going to make it for it. Why don't you, if you make Dhuhr for me, and then, later on I'll make Isha for you. We'll trade. Can you do that? No, you can't do that. You can't get away from Salah. Zakat is Fard Ayn, Siyam. All of these things are Fard Ayn. Now, on the flip side of that, we have what? Fard Kifaya, right? What does Fard Kifaya mean?
It's a group of people.
Right there. Group of people.
Fard
Kifaya means if there's a group of people doing this obligation in a sufficient enough manner so that it can be said that this obligation is getting done, then everybody else is free, right? What is an example of Fard Kifaya? Jihad in certain circumstances. That we're going to get to that in a moment. Like just every circumstance is Fard Kifaya. In a sense, yes. Jihad in the sense, we're going to get to that in a moment. Salat al-Janazah is a beautiful example of Fard Kifaya. If there's a janazah going on and there's like a few people praying Salat al-Janazah, 5, 6, 7, however many, the rest of the people are fine if they want to leave. If everyone else leaves, there's no sin upon them. If they want to stay, they are rewarded, but if they leave, there's no problem. But what happens if no one prays Salat al-Janazah for that person? Everyone is in sin. Everyone is in sin in that community. Everyone is going to be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that community. So then it becomes, if there's no one doing it, what happens? It's not Fard Kifaya anymore, it becomes Fard Ayn. It becomes Fard Ayn until the qualifications of Fard Kifaya are met. Until they're met. Now it comes to Dawah. Dawah in its general sense is Fard Kifaya. That there must be enough people doing Dawah in a sufficient manner so that it can be said that the message of Islam is being conveyed correctly and Tawheed is being spread correctly in the world. How many of you think that obligation is being met? I don't think so. No, we're a long way from that. You can turn on any major media network and tell that the message of Islam is not being spread properly. It is being spread. It is being spread, like you saw in the beginning of the promo for Guidance TV, that the message of Islam is going out, but it's going out from the wrong people. And they're telling the wrong message in the wrong way. Telling lies about Islamic Muslims, misinformation. I like to call it, weapons of mass misinformation. Weapons of mass distortion about Islam. Those are more dangerous than anything else. Because that causes a lot of problems that lead to many evils. So if that means that we are not there, then what does da'wah become as a default? Until we get there. Fard Ayn. Already, just according to the rulings of Fard Kifaya, da'wah becomes Fard Ayn on every single individual until we get back to a point where it's being done sufficiently. Then everyone else is free. Until then, we're all in trouble. We are all in the same boat together. This is why I do this, because I know I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Even though this is what I do as a profession, I know I'm in trouble because everyone is responsible. So I'm trying to free myself. I'm trying to at least stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, look, I did what was within my capacity. I tried to do the best that I could. Hopefully that I don't have to answer for everything else. So just according to that regulation, it's Fard Ayn. But also, as the sister mentioned, there is another concept in Islam that the rulings and regulations of this concept